There's a certain part of me that likes not being very good at things. It makes me feel like I'm not wasting my time becoming a musician, I'm just doing the only thing that I can be any good at. Making bass lines to solve the postmodernist youth. In light of this, don't take any of my advice. Disclaimer. The project for this month is about trying to make a song in the style of 2 Feet, a pop artist who was huge about 2 years ago. The hallmarks of his songs is an emphasis on guitars playing an engaging riff over some heavy bass lines. Unfortunately for me, I don't have a usable guitar for this, so I've decided to make one. The idea of me building anything good is about as hilarious as cow udders on a tabby cat, so I set to work. The guitar I'm basing this off is part of the now discontinued Monkier series of guitars, which I think are very aesthetically pleasing and might look pretty cool furnished in the finest Chinesium, crudely wood-screwed onto some birch ply. I stuck 2 bits of birch ply together and then gave them to a CNC robot to cut it out. Here you can see me cutting the back side of the guitar, so this is the bridge pocket. I've kind of skimmed over this quite quickly, this is it, cutting through, because it wasn't terribly exciting to watch, it was just cutting out all the holes for a guitar, which you'll see now. This is me going outside to angle grind the curves on using a special wood shaving bit thing, which is pretty cool. So after I'd roughed it out, I put on this little sanding disc just to clean up the edges a little bit, and then used a belt sander just because I believe in love and care. I think this is really the only way to treat your wood. So this is me drilling through the electronics hole pocket. So this is to get the wires from the electronics into the pickup. Unfortunately, fuck! This is me drilling out the jack hole, and then cleaning it up. And yeah, sanding, let's not talk too much about that, it was horrific. I don't think I've ever had this little fun in my life, just so much sanding, man. So this is me cutting out the scratch plate, which is basically the same thing. You put it on, pray to God that it works, and then, yeah. This is me expanding all the holes to make it, to make the tuners fit. So after I've done that, I had to knock through the tuners and then tighten them up and screw them down and all that stuff. So the neck fitted really well to begin with, and I was pretty impressed with how tight it fitted. I even screwed it together and strength tested it. It was good. This is me fitting the bridge just to make sure the alignment of all my holes were good. And it all worked. So I screwed the bridge in. Then it was on to the electronics. Soldering, for those of you who don't know, is like trying to staple a picture of Elton John to a homophobic kangaroo's ballsack. I should have highlighted earlier that this really isn't a tutorial, I suck at this. If you want to know stuff, Google it. Back to the bridge was such a disaster. I butchered it like a mental patient trying to remove the demons from my eye socket with a screwdriver. Except from here, I had no reassuring internal voice telling me it was going to be all okay. After I gave up on life, there was only the dull throb of a slightly misaligned guitar bridge.
Make that bridge hole bigger. Move it forwards.
In an attempt to make the lower strings sound more punchy, I angled the cheap, potentially Japanese pickup forward slightly, to have a different tone on the lower strings than the higher ones. In theory, this should have changed the sound between the higher strings and the lower strings, but in reality, it didn't really do much because the pickup itself was angled so that the pickup was angled slightly down, so the higher strings would actually pick up, which meant that fuck that. Just when I'd become hopeful that shit really couldn't get any worse, I realized the neck was 50mm too short, which meant that I could either restart the entire project or just do the most janky hack I could. It kind of works. Well, it doesn't work because the truss rod doesn't turn either way, but hey, it didn't work at the beginning, so honestly, fuck it. I stayed out late one night trying to get the project finished, and I ended up putting the wrong strings on it, so it now has acoustic strings, and I really can't be bothered to change them. After all this happened, the jack snapped off, so it didn't work. I got it wired up so I could finish this video, but it still has grounding issues, which I fixed by just attaching a broken string to the jack. It kind of works, but it's not elegant. I do enjoy it though. There's something cathartic about having a guitar that is actually mine, and entirely mine, spec'd out for me. It could have been a lot better, but it's nice. In conclusion, this was, amongst other things, a test of a business idea, designing and cutting guitar bodies for people who might want to buy them. It still might be on the cards, but it has really highlighted the importance of good parts. Guitar making is an artistic process of assembly. The quality of the guitar parts that you buy directly impact the quality of the overall guitar at the end. The artistic side is about care and time spent making something beautiful, and I'm so impatient that I hammered all my wood screws home with an impact driver, with the same grace as an elephant giving enemas to octogenarians. I wanted a guitar, and as a side note, I wanted to tell my friends that I had built a guitar. I should have just bitten the bullet and bought a guitar. However, like a father who has just watched his eldest son fall into the well, I haven't heard the splash of total failure. However, it seems like an apt time to cut my ties and invest in my second eldest.